Modernity is obsessed with the dream of transcendence, but it is a transcendence without God. Transhumanism, led by thinkers like Ray Kurzweil and Nick Bostrom, proposes that the human condition is a work in progress. Their ultimate goal? Substrate independence. The idea that the mind is merely software that can be uploaded into silicon. But this vision relies on a radical functionalism that treats the body as a disposable container. Today, we subject this vision to the rigor of the Aristotelian-Thomistic tradition. We will argue that mind uploading is not a technological challenge, but a metaphysical impossibility. Through hylomorphism, we will demonstrate that the person is an inseparable, substantial unity of soul and body. Let us begin our investigation into the scholastic response.
Modernity is obsessed with the dream of transcendence, but it is a transcendence without God. Transhumanism, led by thinkers like Ray Kurzweil and Nick Bostrom, proposes that the human condition is a work in progress. Their ultimate goal: substrate independence. The idea that the mind is merely software that can be uploaded into a more durable, silicon-based hardware. But this vision relies on a specific, often unexamined, anthropology, a radical functionalism that treats the body as a disposable container. Today, we subject this vision to the rigor of the Aristotelian-Thomistic tradition. Thesis: we will argue that the transhumanist project of mind uploading is not a technological challenge, but a metaphysical impossibility. Through the doctrine of hylomorphism, we will demonstrate that the human person is not a ghost in a machine, but an inseparable, substantial unity of soul and body. Our investigation will proceed through the method of the disputa sua. We will examine 1. The transhumanist hypothesis of substrate independence. 2. The Thomistic response based on substantial form and prime matter. 3. The distinction between accidental enhancement and substantial destruction. Sources: we rely on primary texts Aquinas, Summa Theologiae questions 75 and 76, and Diente et Essentias, well as contemporary scholarship from Edward Feser, Michael Baggot, and Nicanor Austriaco regarding science-engaged Thomism. To refute transhumanism, we must first understand its strongest argument: functionalism. This view posits that mental states are defined solely by their functional roles, inputs, and outputs. If a silicon chip can perform the same function as a neuron, the person remains intact. In this view, the soul is redefined as information. But information, as understood in computer science, is accidental. It requires a substrate to exist, but is not identical to it. This leads to the Cartesian trap, the belief that the body is a thinking thing that only accidentally inhabits a body. Aquinas counters this with hylomorphism. Following Aristotle, he defines the soul not as a thing living inside a body, but as the substantial form of the body, actus primus corporis physici organici. Argument 1. The unity of operation. Aquinas argues that it is the person who thinks, not just the soul or the brain. When you feel the heat of a candle, it is a psychosomatic act. If the mind were truly independent of the body, our sensory experience would be an illusion of green mist projected by the intellect. Argument 2. The problem of individuation. For the Thomist, matter is the principle of individuation materia signata quantitate. You are this specific person because your soul informs this specific matter. If you copy your mind pattern to a computer, you haven't moved the person. You have created a numerical duplicated digital mule that lacks the biological telos of the original. Does this mean Thomism rejects all technology? No. Nicanor Austriaco and Edward Feser argue that Thomists can support accidental enhancements. A bionic eye that restores sight is a tool that serves the human telos. However, replacing the biological brain with a computer is a substantial change. It is the destruction of the rational animal to create a sophisticated artifact. Hypothesis check. Enhancement is valid only if it respects the hylomorphic boundaries of the species. Seeking to evolve into a post-human is, for Aquinas, a desire for non-existence in ass. Desiring to be a horse ceases to be an ass. Transhumanism is the ultimate expression of the Cartesian anxiety, the fear of our own contingency and death. By seeking to escape the body, it seeks to escape the very reality that makes us human. Conclusion. The Thomistic critique reveals that we are not software. We are living, sentient, and rational substances. True perfection does not lie in upgrading our hardware, but in the perfection of our nature through virtue and, ultimately, through grace, which perfects nature without destroying it. Thank you for joining the Scholastic Circle. Let us know in the comments, can a machine ever possess intentionality? Or is the what it is like to be forever bound to the biological soul?